In this video I want to talk about planning. I think it's really important to plan each and every shoot that you go out on. Personally, photography is a bit of a luxury for me, so when I go out I want to make sure that the conditions are going to be right for the type of photography that I'm going to do. So I'm going to jump onto the computer, I'm going to take you through a few of the utilities and web pages that I use to help with that planning, and then we'll head out together and we'll do an evening shoot. Okay, here we are on the computer. So the first of the things that I'm going to check is my custom Google map. Now on this map, as you can see, there's a whole bunch of coloured pins. Now, all these pins represent either locations that I've shot before or I want to go and shoot. So they could be locations that I've been inspired by images I've seen in magazines or books or anything else. So I find it a really useful way not only to store those locations, but to give me a geographical representation of where they are. So if, for example, I maybe only got a couple hours one evening, I don't want to travel far, so I can zoom in, have a look about, see what's around me, and make a decision from there. Or if I want to shoot maybe a coastal location, it's nice and easy to see all the locations that are along the coast. For this evening shoot, I kind of already know where I want to go. I actually don't want to go too far tonight. So I'm going to zoom in here right into a seaside town here called Dawlish Warren. Now, I've walked along Dawlish Warren lots of times. There's a location I haven't shot before. It's this pier here. It sticks out into the water, which I think would make an ideal long exposure. So that's my location. If I click on the pin, you notice up here I've made a note, not at high tide. This is because I know from my walks past this place that the tide can come in and you could actually potentially get cut off from the pier, which would not be great. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm quite happy with that. I can see if things don't work out that well, I could go up here, I could potentially shoot the groynes along the beach here. I find this extremely useful. I mean, I've got literally hundreds of locations pinned out in this map. I've got lots of locations around Dartmoor here. I can quickly see all my coastal locations along Cornwall up into Devon. If I get a chance to go back to the Lake District, I've got all my Lake District locations pinned out here. And also Glencoe and the rest of Scotland. It's a fantastic way of keeping track of these places you want to go to and finding inspiration when you just can't think of anywhere to go. So we're going to go to Dawlish Warren. So the next thing I want to check is the weather forecast. Okay, we're going to have a look at the weather forecast for Dawlish Warren now. Now there are lots of services and web pages you can use for checking the weather forecast. I mean, I use lots of different services myself depending on the type of activity I'm doing. But for landscape photography, I really like yr.no. It's a Norwegian weather forecast website. So let's take a look at it and I'll tell you why I particularly like it for landscape shooting. So you can also see a list of places that I've already searched for today. So I'll just click straight on Dawlish Warren. So the initial results, quite a high level forecast, as you can see, doesn't really tell you probably much more than you would expect to see in any of the other web forecasting services. But if I click on hour by hour, it gives me a more detailed breakdown of how things are looking as time progresses. But I want a little bit more detail than that. So if I click on detailed, what it gives me, and this is what I'm really looking for, is the cloud coverage here. So if I look in the detailed panels here, I've got low clouds, middle clouds, high clouds. From this information, I can get a really good understanding and a fairly accurate forecast of how high the clouds are going to be and how much clouds are going to be. Most of my landscape compositions will include some element of sky. So if it's looking completely clear, I know typically that's not going to make for a great photograph. So it's that information I can use to make decisions about where and if I go. Now for my location at Dawlish Warren tonight, it's 67% low cloud coverage around the time of sunset. It's pretty clear before, pretty clear after, and then it starts coming back in again. So it's a bit of a risky one, but I think I think it's worth it to get out with the camera. If I can get that cloud in with that long exposure, that can add some really nice texture to my composition. So I'm happy with that, and I'm going to go for that. So the next thing I'm going to do is check the tide. So for the tide, I don't have a dedicated service that I use all the time. What I tend to do is I just tend to type in the place name, tide time and stick it into Google and just click on the top result. The result I've got here from surfforecast.com is, I recognise the web page, so I have used it before. So for my shoot tonight, as I already mentioned when we looked at the map, I'm not looking for high tide. A lot of that's for safety reasons. So look at today, low tide was at 10:45 a.m. Sorry, high tide was at 10:45 a.m. Low tide at 4:53, with high tide again being at 11 p.m. So the red dot is flashing to where it is now. So the tide's almost completely out. Around about sunset, with this line intersects here, tide looks about halfway up. So that to me is a good level. I'll need to watch it because the tide's coming in, but I'm happy with that I'll be able to get out into my location and things will still be safe. So as far as the tide's concerned, that's a thumbs up. Last thing I'm going to check is sunset direction and time. Okay, so the last one of the tools that I'm going to take you through is this fantastic web page called the Photographers Effigy. I think that's how you pronounce it. Do you know what? I've never found anyone that can properly pronounce it anyway, so excuse me if I've just murdered that. I just call it TPE. It's just easier. There is an Android app and I think an iOS app. Yep, it's up there on the screen. You have to pay for that, but to be honest, a couple of quid to have this on your mobile, ideal. Happy days. Okay, so I'm going to start by typing in the place name. I've already searched for it today, so it's Dawlish Warren. Okay, so I'll zoom in there. It's taking me to the centre of town. That's absolutely fine. I've already looked at my Google Maps, so I know where the location is. And here's this pier or jetty, or it could be a groyne actually. I'll have a better look when I go out because there's a lot of water comes through here. So I'm going to just stick my pin there, just drag it on to probably where I'm going to be standing, which is about there. So the first thing I want to have a look at is sunset, which will be at 7:42 this evening. So I really kind of need to maybe look to be getting set up and in position about 7 o'clock, and then shoot for the sort of next hour, seeing how the light goes and how the cloud goes. That's an extremely useful piece of information. The sun is setting off in this direction. Now I know that there's some high ground over here, so the light actually might fade a bit quicker than the light might go before sunset, but this might not matter necessarily for my long exposures. But what I was checking for is I'm not shooting into the sun, so this should hopefully still give me some nice evening light, and depending on the location of the cloud, some nice illumination to the cloud. So again, happy with the time, and then know what time I need to get there for, and I'm happy with the direction that the sun is setting. Okay, then once we checked everything out, I'm happy with where I'm going. All the conditions such as weather, tide, everything else is looking good. So I'm going to start getting ready. I need to, like I say, be ready to shoot probably from about 7 o'clock. Now the only risk that I just remembered about this particular location is it's a one-man location. You want to be dead centre in the middle of that pier to shoot straight down and get things symmetrical. If there's going to be anyone else there, I'm probably going to be clean out of luck, and there's probably not a lot else I can do. Because I looked at my location map, I've remembered that they are the groynes down at the beach at the other side, so if I do find that someone else is down there, I can always move and shoot something else. So I do have at least a bit of a backup plan. But for now, it's time to go and get the bag sorted, get it in the back of the car, get changed, and head off to Dawlish. I'll see you there. Dawlish Warren. It's a little bit windy and there's more cloud in the sky, but hopefully that's just going to add something to my long exposures. I'm just walking along beside the railway line there, and the sea there. For another couple of minutes walk, just okay, I've arrived. The tide's coming in. Probably a little bit more than halfway up already, so I'm going to have to keep a really close eye on that and not get too distracted with taking photographs, so I certainly don't want to get cut off here. So I'm going to quickly nip up onto that concrete bit there and get set up and get shooting. So as you can see in the front of the camera, I've actually put my circular polarizer on as well. What I found is the sun's just up there. I'm putting that on has darkened the water there, taken all the reflections off, which made it a bit more moody, so quite like that effect. I've also put a 0.9 hard Grad on to darken out the sky. I've recomposed, I've had to adjust the exposure because the circular polarizer cuts out some of the light. But I've taken another shot now that makes it on the right, so I'm going to go for the big stopper. As a result of it getting a little bit darker, I've had to readjust my exposure time. It's now up to 4 minutes. I've got it going. I'm quite nervous that my camera's about to get soaked in a minute because those waves are getting bigger and they're getting closer to the camera, but I'm going to stick at it. I'm still looking at the tide behind me. Still got plenty of room there, so I'm quite happy with the situation back there. It's just I'm hoping I get 4 minutes without everything getting soaked. I think it'll be worth the risk. I'm still here, just about. That last exposure I had to drop down to 3 minutes. The waves were just coming everywhere and sea spray was starting to get on the filter, so I cut it short. There's still plenty of, check the histogram, still plenty of information there. Just might have to pull it back from the dark a little bit, but it's definitely an image you can use. I have now moved back a little bit further away from those waves. So I've zoomed in a little bit in the lens, and don't normally do. So I want to try and get a similar type of image. Obviously it'll be a bit more compressed, but I want to try and get that exposure again. And then I think after that I might try one landscape version again, because I like to have a bit of both. And then I think I'm going to call it a night. The waves are getting pretty big, the wind's picking up, it's probably just going to get worse. And I'll probably push the tide far enough by then. As you can see, I've got my backpack on now as well. Side, I don't want to leave an open line here in case there's a big wave and some stuff gets soaking. So let's see how this one goes. Well, I'm back home now, and I've already processed the images, and at least one of them I'm really happy with. So tonight has been a success as far as I'm concerned. I'm glad I did the planning as well. At least I knew what conditions to expect when I got out there, and they pretty well matched what I'd planned for, what I'd researched before I'd gone out. The only thing that didn't go so well, probably nothing to do with the photography, it's more to do with the video side of stuff. A lot of the commentary clips that I'd recorded were rendered unusable because of the wind noise on the camera. So I've already taken some steps to try and rectify that. I bought an external mic, so hopefully that will drive up the quality of the audio in all my video clips. So hopefully by the time the next video comes out, I'll have that in place. Now, if you want to see the images that I took in a bit more detail, if you click on the link that's just appearing up on the screen just now, that will take you straight over to the blog post. And just below that, appearing now, will be a subscribe link. So if you want to click on that, that will notify you automatically when I create new video content. As always, if you don't mind reviewing, commenting, liking, sharing this video, I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye bye.